Welcome back to Shea Stadium. We are awaiting the pre-game events that will be held here at Shea as the Mets honor the fallen heroes and those who are working so hard. There are a number of changes the Mets have instituted. There's one on the sleeve of Mike Piazza's uniform, an embroidered patch on the right arm sleeve of the Mets uniform, two American flags surrounding the date, 9/11/01. Of course, that was the day that now will be forever recalled by this generation of Americans, the day that this country was attacked, the day that terrorism came to our shores, the day that the World Trade Center was no more. And it's just amazing. As you look at the skyline of the city of New York, you realize those two towers, 110 stories each, are no more. It's incredible. Now, the Mets have a scoreboard skyline that did include the Twin Towers. The World Trade Center has now been blacked out, and there is ribbon around that area. The rest of the skyline, though, illuminated here on the scoreboard at Shea Stadium. Huge American flag filling the video screen and the scoreboard here at Shea Stadium. Normally, the Mets logos are on the field near first and third base. Instead, the red, white, and blue ribbons have been put on the field. As we have seen in baseball, since the sport resumed, the American flag has been placed, the sticker of the flag has been placed on all bases. On top of the dugouts, there have been changes also. American flag has been placed there. The visitors' dugout was changed from Welcome to Shea Stadium to Welcome to New York City, with a pair of flags surrounding that. And meanwhile, the Mets dugout was changed from the saying which said 2000 National League champions to God Bless America, along with two flags. And the Braves, obviously also touched by this tragedy, paying tribute to the New York Police Department. That is Steve Carsey, who was born in Flushing, went to Christ the King High School in Queens, and he comes back for the first time, deeply troubled by what took place on September 11th. As the Mets take on the Braves, it is interesting to note that there are a number of Mets and a number of Braves who have roots in this area. Benny Agbayani, of course, does not. Benny, though, has made New York his home, and obviously he is here to offer his support. B.J. Surhoff, born in Rye, New York, played his high school ball there, told us in the pregame that he has lost at least one friend. John Franco, we know his story, the New York native who has been the heart of this team, along with Mike Piazza and Al Leiter, but really the one who has represented the Mets and New York, if you will, throughout this. Right now, let's join PA announcer Roger Luce.
Atlanta Braves. "10 days ago, people around the globe were shocked and saddened by the tragic events that unfolded here in New York City, in Washington, D.C., and outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Tonight, we come together for the first regular season professional sporting event in New York City since Tuesday, September 11th. We return to our national pastime, in part to show that America can and will go on. But before we begin our game, we will pause to remember the victims of those terrible attacks, their families, and the thousands of rescue workers, volunteers, and Good Samaritans who have shown that America can be at her best in the most difficult of times. Our colors tonight are being presented by a joint color guard consisting of New York's Police Department, Fire Department, Emergency Medical Service, Port Authority Police, and the New York State Court Officers Association, 5 agencies that lost rescue personnel when the World Trade Center towers collapsed. They are accompanied by the NYPD Pipers and a rifle team from the United States Marine Corps 6th Communication Battalion, based in Brooklyn, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, here to honor our nation with the singing of God Bless America is Miss Diana Ross. Miss Ross is accompanied by the Northport High School Choir and the Christ Tabernacle Choir from Brooklyn.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains, through the prairies, through the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
Miss Diana Ross, accompanied by the Northport High School Choir and the Christ Tabernacle Choir of Brooklyn. In center field, we welcome 34 midshipmen of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy in Kings Point, Long Island, who are presenting the giant U.S. flag for tonight's ceremony. Now entering center field, our groups representing many of the brave, committed men and women who've been working long, difficult hours as part of the rescue efforts going on at the World Trade Center. Please welcome members of the NYPD, New York Fire Department, Port Authority Police Department, New York State Court officers, the San Francisco Fire Department Station 1, National Disaster Medical System Des Moines, New York Hospital in Queens, St. John's Queens Hospital, Mary Immaculate Hospital EMS Division, and New York University Downtown Hospital. These rescue workers are joining the midshipmen around the giant flag in the same way that Americans from all walks of life have come together to help in the wake of these tragic events. At this time, we ask that you please direct your attention to Diamond Vision for a special message from the New York Mets, to be followed by a moment of silence and 21-gun salute in memory of those who are no longer with us.
Every American was shocked by the disastrous events of September 11th.
But for New Yorkers, this attack was even more personal.
Many of us have families or other loved ones that were touched by the tragedy.
And all of us know someone among the thousands of brave, committed volunteers
and rescue personnel who have come together in Lower Manhattan.
And at this time, we ask that you please rise, remove your caps, and join us in a moment of silent reflection and prayer.
in memory of the victims, in support of their families,
and on behalf of everyone who has been hurt by these attacks.
Please remain standing for the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner, which was written by Francis Scott Key 187 years ago today. Our national anthem will be performed tonight by Mark Anthony.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
a moving tribute here at Shea Stadium. Somber at the appropriate moments. And also at other appropriate moments, it had the sense of a revival. Chants of USA from the crowd here at Shea. Standing ovation given earlier to the mayor, Rudy Giuliani. And then when members of the police department and the fire department and the emergency medical technicians and the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey Police Department came on the field, their efforts were recognized. And the celebration goes on in tribute to those hundreds whose lives have already been claimed, to the thousands who remain still listed as missing, but for whom hopes of survival become dimmer by the hour. Over 6,000 people are still listed as missing. The fans on their feet, a cry of USA now beginning from the upper decks, flags waving proudly, signs and banners everywhere. And now another stirring round of applause for the color guard as it departs through the center field gate, preceded by the New York Police Department hikers. Just a wonderful, moving tribute paid here tonight at Shea Stadium as baseball comes back to New York for the first time since the tragic events of September 11th. More applause as some Mets go out to the field to loosen up in preparation of this game. Mike Piazza out there, Jay Payton. Mets, many of them still in the dugout. Howie Rose, I didn't know what to expect tonight. I thought perhaps there would be more cheers than there were, but it turns out there were more cheers than I thought. It was a combination event tonight, wasn't it?
I think, Matty, to this point, it's very much a cathartic event as much as anything else, and Mayor Giuliani has had so much to do with initiating the healing process, never mind just keeping people's minds as stable as possible under the circumstances.
Will you please welcome from the New York Fire Department, Pete Gansey, Terry Igneri, from the Port Authority Police Department, Richard Nunnally, and from National Disaster Medical System, DMORT, Shannon Dotson. Our honorary catchers are Robin Ventura, John Franco, Todd Zeal, and Al Leiter. Gentlemen, it's your pitch. And ladies and gentlemen, with us tonight, seated behind home plate, our distinguished guests, City Council Speaker Peter Malone and New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the 2001 New York Mets.
Well, Mayor Giuliani once again receiving such warm support from everyone, not only here in the ballpark, but I think around the rest of the nation, Ralph, because really the mayor of New York City, the mayor of Los Angeles, maybe Chicago, have always been, to an extent, national figures, but never more so, I don't think, than in the wake of this tragedy. And what Rudy Giuliani has done to help begin the healing process has been nothing short of heroic.
Job above and beyond, and a season that started on such a happy note of raising the National League Championship flag on opening day here at Shea, and now down to our celebration here today of the rejuvenation of New York.
Well, you just saw a banner honoring the New York Police Department, the Fire Department. You've also got to acknowledge the wonderful efforts of everyone else who have been involved, notably the Port Authority police, the EMS people. And I think it's safe to say, and certainly this comes under as sad a set of circumstances as you can imagine, but the respect, the admiration, and I don't think it's a stretch to say even almost universal love directed towards those agencies, the police in particular, is unprecedented in the history of New York City.
Maybe in the United States, because this has been such a national disaster. Now the recouping of our country and getting back to where we were. Getting back right now to what is at hand. It's the most important game the New York Mets have to play in this season.
Well, the crowd seems pretty well prepared for baseball. I'm not sure that mentally everyone here might have felt that way even Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday watching. But right now the Mets start play just 5.5 games out of first place. And so Bobby Cox, the manager of the Atlanta Braves, presents this starting lineup. It's brought to you by Bud. That's Marcus Giles, the rookie second baseman, followed by Julio Franco, the returning veteran. And then Chipper Jones, Brian Jordan, Ken Caminiti, Andrew Jones, Javi Lopez, Ray Sanchez, and Jason Marquis from Staten Island. Ironically enough, the starting pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, and that's the batting order that will go after Bruce Chen, a former Brave.
And Bruce comes in with a record of 3-1 for the New York Mets, and he has the weight of a big season on his shoulders. Against the Marlins, he had 4 walks and 2 hits. Not a good outing on September 8th. He has a wonderful pickoff move, the best on our staff, and we're about set to go with Bruce Chen starting the ball game for the New York Mets.
And notably, Chen and everyone else connected with the New York Mets in terms of uniform personnel are wearing those caps that pay tribute, in Chen's case, to the Fire Department or the Police Department or the Port Authority Police. And there's an interesting story brewing behind that as well, as Giles takes ball 1 from Bruce Chen, and that is that the Mets would like to continue to wear these caps for the rest of the season. Now, Major League Baseball mandates that uniforms and all caps and accessories conform to strict requirements, and so they've needed to receive special permission to wear these caps, permission that we are told is scheduled to be discontinued after tonight. But there are some defiant people in that Mets dugout who say that no matter what Major League Baseball or MLB properties might say, they want to wear those caps for the remainder of the season. So it'll be interesting to see what results. 2 balls and 1 strike to Marcus Giles. And Chen misses with a slider down and in. 3 balls and 1 strike. Giles, the 53rd round pick of the Braves back in 1996, but he's hit the big leagues this year and has had a very productive go of it. It's off the glove of Piazza for ball 4. And Giles might not have realized it at first. Takes his time getting down to first base. But the walk gives the Braves a leadoff base runner. It'll bring up Julio Franco. The Mets defensively, brought to you by New York Lotto, feature Zeal at first with Alfonso at second. The third baseman, Robin Ventura. And at shortstop, Ray Ordonez. In the outfield, Tsuyoshi Shinjo is in left, with Jay Payton in center. And around in right, it's Matt Lawton. So here's Julio Franco taking on the inside corner for strike 1.
It's really a difficult thing as you look at Julio Franco, a former Met. He retired from baseball, went down to Mexico and played, and was brought back to the Major Leagues by Atlanta. The emotion of this night has got to be extremely difficult on a player like Bruce Chen. He is not a veteran. He's new to the Mets, and so he has to overcome that.
And apart from the circumstances surrounding this game, it's just the challenge of Chen facing his former teammates as he slips the fastball past Franco to go 0-2. The only start that Chen has made this year against Atlanta came while with the Philadelphia Phillies, and that did not go well. In fact, it was his last start as a Philadelphia Philly. He went 2 innings and gave up 7 hits and 7 runs. He's trying to prove something to his former team. He's ahead of Julio Franco. He stays alive.
Franco, a dominating batter for the Cleveland Indians and then acquired by the Mets and never could quite put it all together. He had some injuries while with the Mets. Was happy to be in New York, his home area. And then out of baseball and played in Mexico. Had a great year in Mexico this year and brought back to the majors by the Braves.
Takes a big cut there to Julio Franco, who last had played in the major leagues with just 1 game, 1 at bat for Tampa Bay 2 years ago. In fact, Franco had also played for the same team that Bobby Valentine managed in Japan. Chiba Lotti team back in 1995. Fists one. It's going to be a double play. Giles took off. He's doubled up, and there are 2 out, nobody on.
Well, the ball not hit hard and a perfect setup for a double play. Good play by Zeal and an easy out for the double play.
Well, the first sign that things are starting to return to normal, Chipper Jones hearing it from the fans. That he fouls the first pitch back. No balls, 1 strike to Chipper. Another big year for Jones. 36 homers, 94 runs batted in. Jones now playing left field for the Braves. Their entire infield right now is different from where it was at the beginning of the year. Breaking ball, 0-2.
Chipper Jones has hit 300 against the Mets in each of his last 6 seasons. 326 this season. 395 last year. 499. 356 in 98, 370 in 97, and 408 in 96. He has been the toughest batter for the Mets over that period of time.
That's just a little more than a half season, 86 games. And if you prorate those numbers, they come out to be something very special. Chipper on a 12-game hitting streak. Bruce Chan ahead of him in the count with 2 out, nobody on, just getting started at Shea. Behind the fastball.
He has hit well against left-hand pitching. He's hit 348 with 6 home runs. He's hit better in the home run department against right-hand pitching. So he is a better and stronger hitter from the left-hand side of the plate.
Breaking ball. And the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Braves come in having salvaged the final game of the series that they played with the Phillies last night at Veterans Stadium. They lost the first 3, inviting the Phillies to stay right on their heels. Philadelphia starts play tonight just a game and a half behind Bobby Cox and the Atlanta Braves. The Mets are 5.5 back, 6 in the loss column. And that'll run the count full.
Phillies have the better of the schedule down through the remaining games. Atlanta has 6 games with the Mets, and the Phillies have the easier way to the National League eastern side.
Yeah, they've got games left against Florida, and they're 10-2 against the Marlins. So a payoff pitch on the way from Chin on the inside corner. So after the leadoff walk, the line drive double play, and then Chipper Jones caught looking, and the Braves are done in the first. Atlanta doesn't score. The Mets are coming right up. The Atlanta Braves did not score top of the first inning, so here come the Mets to face Jason Marquis out of Staten Island. And for New York, Matt Lawton will lead off in right field, followed by Edgardo Alfonso at second. The Mets batting order brought to you by Ford. And then Piazza, Ventura, Shinjo, Zeal, Payton, Ordonez, and Chen. And now Jason Marquis out of Tottenville High School in Staten Island. Ralph.
And a record of 3-8 Earned run average of 4.24. And the Nissan scouting report, he was born in Manhasset. Good fastball in the mid-90s, hard slider, a changeup. And he's had the worst run support of any pitcher in the major leagues.
Yeah, how bad? Just 2.8 runs per game that he started, this being his 14th start of the year.
No other pitcher in Major League Baseball has had less runs scored for him than he has.
And the fastball tipped by Lawton, the count 0-2. For Jason Marquis, the emotions have to be running awfully high tonight as well, because one of the firefighters missing in the World Trade Center attack, Michael Camarada, was a teammate of Jason Marquis on the South Shore Little League team, which played in the 1991 Little League World Series. It was a difficult night for Jason Marquis in particular. That's line to left. Chipper Jones hesitated before coming on to make the catch.
Another thing about Jason is the fact he played in a championship game here at Shea Stadium, but he grew up as a Yankee fan.
Well, obviously nobody in this ballpark's holding that against him tonight, not with the reception that Mayor Giuliani received. 1995 and 1996, Marquis pitched Tottenville High of Staten Island to 2 straight New York City championships. So Alfonso back in business after the injured finger. 1 ball, no strikes to Fonzie. His batting average creeping up to a more respectable 248. But one thing that looks pretty apparent, Ralph, is that his swings seem to be virtually pain-free now.
He's swinging much better because he's hit well in the last month of the year and had to sit out a few games with a bad finger, and that did bother him a bit, but he's got the good swing back.
Could you tell almost by looking at his swing the difference between when the back was hurting and when it's
no
not?
question about it. You could tell because he was moving so early in the pitch on the way count, and he now is staying back and hitting the ball like he did his good years with the Mets.
Very encouraging sign, because Fonzie, of course, will have several months to rest that back and get it as close to 100% as possible before next spring training. They were at one point wondering whether or not Alfonso would be able to finish this season. 2 balls and a strike with Piazza waiting on deck. On the outside corner, good pitch by Marquis. It's 2-2.
Alfonso didn't like that call at all. Wally Bell is the home plate umpire.
So the count even to Alfonso. And he hits it out to right field. Should be easy for Brian Jordan. And that's the second out. So a couple of fly balls against Marquis here in the first. And now Mike Piazza. Well, you know, Mike's all right after a season which has also been punctuated with various nicks and bruises. Another one-hand home run in Pittsburgh earlier in the week.
2 home runs in that series, and one of them turned the game around to the Mets' favor. And Mike has really become a New Yorker, even though he was raised and born in Jersey, New Jersey. He has been the spokesman for the Mets throughout this catastrophe.
And he does live fairly close to the site in Lower Manhattan. 2 balls, no strikes to Piazza. Many of the Mets, including Piazza, have visited the site and visited with various agencies and representatives of those who have been affected by the attack, pounded foul. In fact, just yesterday, Bobby Valentine, John Franco, Al Leiter, Todd Zeal, Robin Ventura, John Stearns, and Mets PR Director Jay Horwitz all went downtown without any fanfare or attention. No cameras were around. Put the hard hats on. They went right deep into the site at ground zero. As you would imagine, each man, in talking to them today, very profoundly affected by the scene. How could you not be? John's son plays Little League for a coach who apparently has been lost in the attack. Full count now to Piazza. But I will say, Ralph, that in talking to players and just being around the scene today, there seems to be some semblance of an upswing in the general mood and demeanor of the players from what it appeared to be in Pittsburgh earlier in the week.
Time does heal all wounds, and it's going to take a long time, but gradually you see the reaction getting better all the time.
Breaking ball and a fair ball. Piazza on his way to second as Chipper Jones makes the slow approach. And Piazza stands at second with his 23rd two-base hit of the year. Well, Marquis didn't want to throw him a 3-2 fastball, and he still got burned.
Right down the line and by Caminetti, and not played too well by Jones. And Piazza able to get a two-base hit out of that hard ground ball. Of course, Jones is playing in the outfield. Basically, was a shortstop and then moved to third base. Caminetti, who was acquired by the Braves in the latter part of the season, taking over third base. Jones going to the outfield.
Ventura going after the first pitch. No balls, one strike to Robin. The one hit that he had in Pittsburgh was a home run.
Ventura with a off year, and he is an important cog to this ball club. 20 home runs, 55 runs, but hitting at .230. And he's a backup man to Piazza.
Exactly 1,000 ribbies for Robin Ventura. 1,001 waiting at second base. 0-2.
One of the things about the way the winner of the division is determined is that if you played only the teams and counted the games in your division, the Mets would be in first place. The Phillies would be in second and the Braves would be in third. With the games played against the clubs in your own division, like they do in football.
Got him. So Marquis with a fastball strikes out Robin Ventura. And the Mets are done in the first. A two-out double by Piazza, who's stranded at second, one in the books. No score.
We are back at Shea Stadium. Among those in attendance tonight, Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who has been such a source of inspiration and strength for so many people during this trying time. And first off, Mr. Mayor, congratulations on the yeoman effort that you have performed. What did tonight's ceremony tribute mean to you, and what did you think it meant to those in New York and the area?
It meant great recognition for our police officers, our firefighters, our EMS workers, our Port Authority police, everyone. I know how much it means to them, and I particularly wanted to be here because I thought what the Mets did the other night in wearing our hats, it was just a wonderful, wonderful thing. It uplifted the spirits of thousands of people who were working at the site at a time in which they absolutely needed to have their spirits uplifted. And I just thought it was one of the most beautiful human things I had seen.
Well, and this entire tribute, and what the Mets have done all week long, has been very heartfelt. I know Wally Bell, the home plate umpire, came over to you after the first batter, Marcus Giles, was up and gave you a baseball. What was that all about?
He said, please give it to somebody that where it would be important. And I said, we're going to give it to one of the children at the family center who's lost their father, and we'll find someone who'll get the Mets, I'm sure, to sign it.
Well, again, a very nice gesture by Wally Bell, and of course you will make sure that that gets done. This might be the loudest amount of cheers you have received at Shea Stadium.
I told Peter Malone before that things will be back to normal when they boo me at Shea Stadium.
Okay.
I'm a Yankee fan, you know, and they all know it, and they give me, usually when I walk in here, they start yelling things like, go back to the Bronx, go back to the Bronx. I happen to root for the Mets in the National League. I'm rooting for them big time. Although I did go over and shake hands with everybody from the Atlanta Braves. I mean, one of the points that I think we want to make is that America is together. 1,000% together. Atlanta, New York, every place. Now we get out on the baseball field and we're going to beat them.
That's the way it should be, between the lines of the Mets looking for a victory. Do you think they can pull off this improbable Some say impossible dream.
I'm absolutely praying. I told Bobby Valentine that, and I told Jeff Wilpon that this would be an absolutely wonderful thing if they can do it. But the mere fact that we're back and we're having baseball and we have so many people in the stands, and this is the way life gets back to normalcy. I mean, and they have to. People have to enjoy the parts of life that are good. You can't concentrate just on the tragedies.
Without a doubt, life does move on in an unbelievably trying time. And speaking to some of the players, some of the fans, they're not concerned clearly by their attendance here. Well, the players had to be here, but the fans' attendance here by security concerns. Anything extraordinary that had to be done? I mean, the city is so used to handling so many situations, perhaps greater than this. Anything?
We take extraordinary precautions now about everything. So if there's a gathering, we have more police, we do more surveillance, we do more looking. It's just natural in the wake of a tragedy like that. We do it whether it's here or it's a church service or a synagogue service. So yeah, there was a little extra. There will be probably for some time. But it's so wonderful that these people in such large numbers have the confidence to come out, and this will encourage other people now to go out and do the things they should do.
All right, two quick things. One, I should point out that Council President Peter Vallone is a few seats away, and I apologize. A loyal Met
bet from him last year.
Well, perhaps he can win one from you in what would be an unbelievable Subway Series. The final question for me, sir, is what if people still want to do something? What do you tell them?
What I tell them to do, if they have special expertise, they should volunteer, and volunteer at the Family Center, volunteer at the Javits Center if they can help, if they have expertise in the area. But if there's nothing else they can do, in addition to maybe making a donation to one of the charities, like the Twin Towers charity or the charities that will get money directly to the families, they can just go about their lives. I mean, go back out to restaurants, go to stores, go to movies, go to plays, go back out there and lead your life, because it says to the terrorist cowards who attacked us, they're not going to stop us. We're going to mourn and we're going to feel grief, but we're going to lead our lives. They're not going to stop a democracy.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, you've given so much of your time. So many people want some of your time. I appreciate your giving some of it to us.
This is the national pastime. It means a lot, and I think we probably learned that when they went back the other night and everybody was wearing the cap. It had an electrifying effect.
Well, for everyone in New York and in the area,
congratulations to the Mets. Their extraordinary humanity and generosity is very much appreciated.
Well, Mr. Mayor, you have done a yeoman's job. Rudy Giuliani here at Shea Stadium. We will take a short break. We'll come back with the bottom half of the second inning, scoreless between Atlanta and the Mets as baseball returns to New York.
As this game is scoreless, with Shinjo, Zeal, and Payton set to face Jason Marquis for the Atlanta Braves. And that's on the outside corner, 0-1. Shinjo, 273, 10 homers, 51 runs batted in. No ball, it's 2 strikes to Tsuyoshi Shinjo. He went 5 out of 10 in Pittsburgh. One and 2. Pretty encouraging, Ralph, as this season has progressed. Here we are in September, and Shinjo is still getting key hits and driving in runs, and apparently having made some pretty good adjustments.
One of the things that he had to adjust to was this disaster right here in this country. One of the things about the Japanese players, and there are 2 regular players from Japan in Major League Baseball, they do not go to any endorsing functions.
Breaking ball got him there, and that's the second strikeout for Jason Marquis.
For what reason, I do not know.
Well, each pitcher off to a pretty good start. New York Marriott Marquis pitching matchup features the work of Jason Marquis and Bruce Chen.
That's had the only hit in the ball game.
Line, but right at Franco at first, and Todd Zeal is gone. One pitch, And the second out recorded. 2 out, nobody on, and Jay Payton will be next.
Well, Zeal took a soft line drive and turned it into a double play, and right here, this ball hit like a bullet. A good play by Franco, basically as a second baseman or an infielder. I guess you call a first baseman an infielder, but not really a first baseman.
And as Franco hit the ball that Zeal caught for that double play, but Jay Payton steps in now for the Mets. Ralph, this Atlanta infield totally revamped from the one that opened against the Mets at Turner Field back in April.
All the way around, first, second, short, and third.
0-1 to Jay. Kilvio Veras was released. He was the second baseman. Rafael Furcal, a tremendous young shortstop. Season-ending injury. Fouled away, 0-2.
Unless Bobby Cox, the manager of the Braves, wins 15 of his next 16 ball games, it will be the worst record that the Braves have had under Bobby Cox. He has had a fantastic record.
Plus, he did a nice job with the Blue Jays in the American League as well.
The only manager in Major League history with a 10 consecutive season of .580% or better was Casey Stengel, and Bobby Cox right behind him.
Payton go around? No, according to the first base ump Marty Foster. It's 2-2.
The other thing about Bobby Cox is that he leads the league in being thrown out of games this year. He's been thrown out 10 times.
A couple of nights in Philadelphia this week. Pat Corrales had the lineup card in his hand very early last night. Here's Pat Corrales, former big league catcher
and manager.
He got fired with his team in first place one year.
That's when things are tough.
Count even to Payton. 2 out, nobody on. Hit well to center. Andrew Jones with room. Side retired. 3 up, 3 down for the Mets in the second. And at the end of 2, here at Shea, Atlanta and the Mets remain scoreless. But Ralph, this is a pretty poignant sight. This is atop the scoreboard where the Mets have long featured the entire skyline, including the World Trade Center, and that has been, at least for the time being, memorialized as such. A nice gesture. Javi Lopez takes a strike. Nothing in 2 to the Braves catcher. He'll be followed by Ray Sanchez and Jason Marquis. Will he be the Braves catcher next year? Javi Lopez could become a free agent. Late and foul down the right field line. Still nothing in 2.
1995, Javi Lopez hit .315, the first Brave catcher that hit over 300 since Joe Torre, who hit .315 in 1966.
I can be pretty sure he won't catch tomorrow with Maddox pitching. Still 0-2. Paul Bacco has been pretty much Maddox's personal catcher this year, which really is to say that anybody but Javi Lopez over the years has been Maddox's personal catcher. He's not comfortable pitching to him. Still nothing in 2. Third ball fouled off in a row by Lopez, and that one caught a piece of Piazza.
A lot of catchers stay in baseball by being a personalized catcher.
Ray Sanchez waiting on deck. Got him. Well, Chin will throw that fastball up and sometimes out of the strike zone. Right there, he picks up the strikeout just that way.
Third strikeout, and all 3 have been on high fastballs. He does not throw that hard, but he throws you that slop drop And that sets up fastball, which is not really too much into the, possibly not even in the 90s.
So Ray Sanchez picked up from Kansas City to play shortstop. Furcal went down with the injury. 1 ball, no strikes to Sanchez. He's been around with the Cubs, the Yankees, the Giants, and the Royals. And that's hit through the hole. So Sanchez delivers the first Atlanta hit. And the Braves with a 1-out base runner, Jason Marquis, in all likelihood will try and butt him over. It's Glenn Hubbard, somewhat familiar face, former Braves second baseman, now the first base coach. It's interesting, Ralph, as emotional as the crowd was during the ceremonies and during the first inning, things have quieted down quite a bit.
Unusual for a Shea Stadium crowd.
1 ball, no strikes, particularly with the Braves here, particularly with this game having such significance relative to the pennant race. But circumstances have dictated that people are reacting at their own pace. Ventura coming in hard from third. And the fastball misses. So it's 2-0 on the pitcher, Jason Marquis.
Well, the one thing you want here, you want to make sure you do get an out. You want the batter to bunt. Certainly don't want to walk it.
That's a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike on Marquis. And again, the corners, Ventura at third, Zeal at first, are coming hard.
Zeal has been going to the mound and talking to Bruce Ginn on every pitch.
Yes, Keith Hernandez taught him well, huh?
Mm-hmm.
This time Zeal had to reach.
This is new to Bruce Ginn. He has not had the games where the Mets play this play all the time on left-hand pitching. They have the first baseman off the bag, and there is a signal where he goes back to the bag when he does go there. It's done on a signal, not by chance.
That's low, and it's 3-1. That time Zeal had taken a step back towards the bag and then dashed down the line. But now it's 3 balls and a strike on Jason Marquis. Marquis, not a good hitter. You would think 3-1, the bunt would still be on.
Maybe it's a take shot.
Yep, you got a left-hand pitcher. And Marquis does bunt, but it goes foul. He's got another crack. It's 3-2.
Now the question here is whether or not the runner would be going with the pitch. 3-2 count. And the other question is whether or not he will swing away or will he bunt again, attempt to bunt.
Marquis with a full swing fouls it back. And that time Sanchez was not running from first base. Gets caught between first and second. Zeal late getting the throw to second. Zeal thought the runner was coming back to first base. Sanchez had started down the line and then stopped. And so Zeal, evidently hearing that he was going to come back to the bag, takes the ball to the bag.
Right here, you look at Zeal. He's thinking that the runner's coming back to first and loses the chance to get the runner trapped off first. So, in order, the sacrifice was done by the strikeout.
Well, sacrifice means give yourself up. I guess they don't care how you do it. Jason Marquis, though, will not get credit for his sacrifice, but Sanchez does steal second base. So he's in scoring position, and now Marcus Giles. One and 0. And Mike Piazza is going to have a word with Bruce Chen. I want to remind you about a scheduling change as far as the television schedule is concerned. Tomorrow's game, which was originally scheduled to be seen here on Fox Sports Net, has been changed to the WB Channel 11. And so we will next join you on Fox Sports Net Sunday afternoon for the final game of this 3-game series. Matt Loughlin will start it with Geico Mets on deck at 12:30. And then a little after 1 o'clock, Al Leiter will throw the first pitch. He'll face Tommy Glavine. Greg Maddux and Steve Trexel tomorrow night. 1-0 to Giles with Sanchez at second. Chen now with 4 strikeouts. And he's 1-1 to Giles. Sanchez not much speed at second base. And Chen misses upstairs with a fastball. It's 2-1. Easy play for Lawton in right field. And the side retired. So the Braves leave a runner in scoring position. No runs, a hit, 1 left. Middle of the third. Still scoreless. Go to the last of the third. And a variety of patriotic signs and displays are present here in the ballpark tonight. I would estimate upwards of 40,000 plus in the ballpark tonight. Obviously, it took people longer than usual to get in, mostly because of the added security. And, of course, the parking spots that were taken away necessitated either parking farther away or not driving at all. And so it was somewhat of a late arriving crowd as well. It looked like they'll have 40,000 or so. Fastball on the outside corner to Ray Ordonez.
He's had a good month, and he's played very good baseball for the Mets in the last couple of months.
One and 1 to Ray. Take what he's done over the last 47 games. That's almost a third of the season. And in that stretch, he's hit .305.
And he's hit .302 in this month. Make that .333 in this month.
Brian Jordan drifting back, and there's 1 out. So Ordonez flies to right. 5 in a row retired by Jason Marquis, and it'll bring up Bruce Chen. Chen 6 out of 43 as a hitter this year, adding up to 140. Low for a ball.
Chen from Panama City in Panama.
Two and 0.
He was attending classes to get an engineering degree at Georgia Tech.
He's of Chinese descent, and a lot of Chinese people emigrated to Panama to work on the canal. That's around the time that Bruce's grandfather made the trip to Panama. Only he didn't work on the canal. Of course, his family settled in Panama, and that's where Bruce grew up. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
One of the greatest hitters of all time in Japanese baseball was Sadaharu Oh, spelled O-H, the great home run hitter who hit over 800 home runs in the Japanese league. And he was Chinese descent.
Got him. Third strikeout for Marquis. 2 out, nobody on. Let's learn a little more about Jason Marquis. He's the subject of our Panasonic Fast Facts.
1996 graduate of Pattonville High School in Staten Island. Played baseball and basketball and was a member of the National Honor Society. Made his debut on June 6th, a year ago.
Down and away to Matt Lawton. Lawton flied to left field in the first inning. Each team with a hit. Piazza has it for the Mets. That was a double. Ray Sanchez a single for Atlanta. 2-0. Florida and Philadelphia scoreless as they go to the top of the 6th inning at the Vet. Off the inside corner. 3 balls, no strikes. When you think ahead here, if Lawton should draw a walk, Marquis will have to concern himself, no doubt, with Lawton trying to steal his way to second. Marquis hits the outside corner, 3-1. To the hole, plugged by Giles. And that retires the side. 7 in a row have been retired by Jason Marquis. Mets go in order in the 3rd. Fran Healy will take you through the next 3. Scoreless at Shea.
Julio Franco will lead it off for the Braves as we go to the top of the 4th inning. No score, the Braves and the Mets. Outside ball 1. Well, Ralph, the ceremony before the ball game was really something else. And the Mets did a great job. Dave Howard and his crew here at Shea Stadium. And the big guy, Tim Gunkel, is about as creative as you can get, along with the video department, helped orchestrate. You hear the noise in the background. That's because New York's great leader, Rudy Giuliani, is going to leave the ballpark. And what a leader he is.
Another standing ovation for Rudy, who doesn't get that here at Shea Stadium because of the fact he's a Yankee, out and out Yankee fan.
He wanted to be a catcher. You know what? If he was a catcher, nobody would call pitches except him.
He'd call the plays.
There's a fly ball to right field. Lawton back, and he makes the grab. 1 down. By the way, speaking of right fielder, huge flag out there in right field. And it was the Budweiser sign. And the Budweiser sign on the Shea Stadium main scoreboard has been replaced by the American flag as a gesture by Anheuser-Busch Inc. The St. Louis-based brewer is replacing brand advertising on approximately 250. That's 250 outdoor billboards and stadium signs. And that's to express the pride and resolve the company feels in the wake of last week's tragedy. Big flag here at Shea Stadium has replaced the Budweiser sign, and Budweiser has replaced the sign with that flag. Chipper Jones, the batter. It's 1-1 on Jones, who's got 36 home runs this year.
For a long time, Budweiser was the owner of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Chopper up the middle. Ordonez had only one thing he could do because Chipper Jones can run, and Ordonez had to try to field it barehanded, unable to do so. So Chipper Jones is on first base with a single.
Well, not much you can do about this. A soft little bouncer just over the glove of the pitcher. And Ray trying to make a bare hand grab, knowing he had no time at all. And couldn't find the handle.
Well, Chipper Jones with good speed on first base. And Brian Jordan is the batter. Jordan fouls off the first pitch. And missed the ceremony here at Shea Stadium, I'm telling you, Ralph, you had to have goosebumps during the ceremony.
You're right about the production was just outstanding, and not a thing went wrong. It was done so perfectly.
Quite emotional. Rudy Giuliani came in the ballpark to a standing ovation, swung on and missed. No balls and 2 strikes.
Right here, Jim with a fastball, and Jordan right to the balls. I mean, right to it. So it's a baseball expression by players. Swung through the ball.
0-2 on Brian Jordan. Fouls the ball back. So will do it again. No balls and 2 strikes. Jordan's got some pop. He's got 20 home runs, 82 RBIs.
One thing about Jordan, he's been hurt throughout his career, and was a great football player.
How can a football player play baseball?
But he's had injuries year after year after year.
Now we know which is the real difficult, tough sport to play.
You said that. I didn't say it.
Lock the door. He hurt his shoulders from football, and he's had operations on his
had
shoulders.
Knees and bad legs and everything.
He used that football to negotiate some pretty good contracts in baseball.
Certainly did. It's a threat to go back and play pro ball. The defensive back that was drafted by Buffalo, the Bills.
There's a drive to center field. Jay Payton's right there, 2 down. Well, I'd like to welcome some people into the booth. Fire Captain Stagpole, Timothy Stagpole, who died saving others at the World Trade Center. He only returned to work 6 months ago. He was badly burned and almost died in 1998. Captain Stagpole had bought these tickets for tonight's ball game a few months ago and wanted to bring the family out to Shea Stadium. So I want to welcome his family here at the Mets Braves game, and they've taken some time away from the wake, and Captain Timothy Stagpole will be buried on Monday. So we get some Met fans in the booth pulling against those Braves, right, guys?
First time up here in the booth.
Don't get too comfortable now. We don't want to be giving up these headsets. Okay? Here, they have those Met uniforms on. They're ready to go. Ralph, these are future Major League players, I got a feeling.
All right, yeah.
What do you think? We're going to get this guy a Met hat, though. The Giants, well, of course, their season. So he's got a Met cap.
It's the best seat in the house up here.
Don't be telling people that. These guys look too comfortable.
The only thing you have to worry about are foul balls that come back here. And the first thing you learn to do is duck under the table.
It's 1 ball and 1 strike on Ken Caminetti. He hits a ground ball. It's fair ball down the right field line. And Chipper Jones is rounding third. They're sending on the throw to the plate. Oh, off Piazza's glove. And Chipper Jones scores. So the ball hits off Mike Piazza's glove, and Jones scores the first run of the ball game. So it's 1-0 in favor of the Braves.
Well, the space hit here is what you call very fortuitous. It is off of the glove of Zeal amid a diving try, and then the throw in by Alfonso is a perfect throw, but bounces a little too close to Piazza and bounces away, and the run scores. Just a shade too close for Mike to get the glove in the right position to make the play.
Well, there was going to be a heck of a collision right there. But it's 1-0 in favor of the Braves. Andrew Jones is the batter. He takes a strike. Jones struck out his first time up, and the Philadelphia Phillies series. Andrew Jones really struggling.
He even dropped a fly ball in that series.
Yeah.
That's hard to believe. This is one of the great outfielders of all time.
There's a ground ball to short. Ordonez gloves it. And they get Andrew Jones, but the Braves got to run. They got a run on a double off the bat of Ken Caminetti. The Mets trail 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the fourth.
It's a great cause, and he is the guy that started it here in New York.
Yeah, so that's Rusty Staub, and Rusty has worked morning, noon, and night, and unfortunately, people really need Rusty and his foundation. So everybody's stepping up in New York. It's quite a feeling. Unfortunately, every time you get a high about the feeling of the atmosphere, you think to the tragic event of September 11th. Well, it's 0-1 on Fonzie. It's the fourth inning here at Shea Stadium. Big crowd on hand, big series. Somehow it doesn't seem as big. Fonzie hits a drive to center field. Andrew Jones, who can go get him, but the best of him makes the grab. 2 men are out. Check that one out. Fonzie flying to center field. By the way, we'd like to pass along, the Mets family would like to pass along condolences to Lou Rudin family. Lou, a well-known real estate man here in the New York area, a friend of yours, Ralph, and who passed away after an illness. And the Mets wanted us to pass along condolences from everybody out here at Shea Stadium.
He was a great supporter of New York City. He just, everything he did was for New York. Very close friend of a lot of friends of mine, and just a wonderful guy. Had the worst golf swing I ever saw.
Well, again, our condolences to the Lou Rudin family. Amazing in a period where one of the landmarks here in New York is torn apart by terrorists. One of the leading builders of New York passes away. Lou Rudin swung on and missed. Mike Piazza, it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Piazza will be followed by Robin Ventura. Missed outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. If you went back and watched that throw from the outfield from Fonzie to Mike Piazza, more and more catchers today, and I think it's wise, keep the mask on. Mike took the mask off, I believe, and sometimes you take that mask off, you can flinch when the ball bounces. And when I played Ralph, everybody took the mask off.
Right, but I think nowadays the way they crash into the catchers at home plate.
There's a drive right center field. Extra bases for Piazza. He's on his way to second base with a double.
Right here, Mike goes the other way and lines this ball into right center field. And it slides on by as the right fielder, Brian Jordan, goes down in the grass. And Piazza with the second double of the ball game, and he has the Mets 2 hits. Chance to tie the game now for Ventura, who struck out with Piazza on second his first time up.
Shea Stadium is starting to rock. It's been rocking from the ceremonies on. Outside to Ventura, 1-0. Big crowd on hand, first of 3 against the Braves. The mayor of New York wanted the Mets to come back, play the games here. There was some talk about them going to Atlanta. Ventura takes up high, 2-0.
Once again, they made the right decision. It's pretty heartwarming to see fans are out here and watching baseball, and the ceremonies were certainly inspiring.
Piazza with the lead. The 2-0 pitch. Line drive, base hit, right field. They're going to hold Piazza at third. Throw comes in, Ventura dives back to first. So the Mets have runners on first and third with one man out. And let's get back to that Aflac trivia question. Robin Ventura became the 5th player to record his 1,000th RBI while playing for the Mets. Who are the other 4? There they are. Henderson, Keith Hernandez, Gary Carter, and George Foster.
Oh, I see. It was while playing for the Mets, not playing for the Mets.
While
and accumulating, yeah, while playing there. Okay.
Look at the defense. As usual, big game here in New York. Electricity throughout the stadium. Shinjo takes down low, ball 1.
That was a good call by John Stearns, holding Piazza up at third base, because Brian Jordan made a perfect throw to the cutoff man, and the throw was right on line to the catcher.
One and all on Tsuyoshi Shinjo. Fouled off, 1 ball, 1 strike. Prior to the game tonight, Diana Ross was outstanding. So was Mark Anthony. I'm sure you'll see the ceremonies again. Just will give anybody born and brought up in this country goosebumps. Shinjo, it's a high fly ball. And Jordan is under it. Piazza tagging. Here comes Piazza. This baby is all tied up.
Shinjo with the run batted in on the sac fly, and the Mets have tied the game. And now the batter would be Todd Zeile. He's been hot for the Mets.
2 home runs in his last 2 ball games. Zeile lined out to first base his last time up. He'll be followed by Jay Payton. 2 men are out. Zeile takes a strike. Chin looking on. Marquis' pitch is a strike, so it's 0-2 on Todd Zeile. Zeile disagrees with the home plate umpire Wally Bell.
Well, they were certainly close. Both pitches in the same position, same spot. And strike 2.
Saw mix up on the signs. Javi Lopez, who has been tattooed by the pitching staff with the Braves as far as his catching is concerned, went out to talk to Marquis. Jason Marquis, born Manhasset, New York. Good ball movement, and Zeile hits right on top, so it stays at no balls and 2 strikes. 3-game series between the Braves and the Mets. If you just tuned in, we're in the 4th inning. They're all tied at 1. The Phillies and the Marlins, zip, zip in the 7th inning at the vet. The one thing about that Marlins team is they can throw a pitcher out there that might give up 10 runs in the 1st inning, but has the ability to shut you out for 10 innings. You just don't know what you're going to get when you face the Marlins. They're going to have quite an impact in this race.
And the Phillies are going to have an impact in this race. They have the best schedule.
Outside to Zeal, 1 ball and 2 strikes. We'll see what happens tonight. Phillies and the Marlins. The Phillies winning 3 of 4 from the Braves. Can they have a letdown? We'll see. Base hit. Extra bases. Ventura will be held at third. Zeal in the second base with a stand-up double. Bobby Cox sends Leo Mazzoni to the mound.
If you want to get a perspective on what could happen this year, in 1964, the Cardinals, with 13 games to play, were in 3rd place, like the Mets are. 6 games back of the Phillies. The Mets are only 5.5 back. The Cardinals won 10 of 13. The Phillies won 2 and 9, and the Cardinals won the National League Championship. 2 of those 3 losses the Cardinals had were to the Mets. The last series of the year, the Mets won the 1st game, knocking Bob Gibson out of the box. They won the 2nd game with Hal Jackson pitching a 1-0 shutout. And then with Gibson coming in the ballgame in relief, the Cardinals won the National League Championship.
Well, Jay Payton will take a strike. So it's 0-1 on Payton, who's batting .251. He's got 7 home runs, but lately he's back to swinging the bat. Ball's starting to jump off his bat again. Pulls it to third. Caminetti, will he get him? Oh, what a play by Ken Caminetti. Outstanding play by the veteran 3rd baseman. But the Mets have tied it up. Look at that play again. We're all tied at 1. The Braves and the Mets. And if you want to help out, here it is, www.libertyunites.org. That's the umbrella website. And you can see the telephone numbers. National Disaster Relief Fund, 1-800-HELP-NOW. We'll give you those numbers again. Javi Lopez is the batter. He swings through a breaking ball for a strike. New York State World Trade Center Relief Fund, 1-800-801-8092. The United Way September 11th Fund, 212-251-4035 or 1-800-710-8002. For more information on how to help, visit libertyunites.org. So Javi Lopez, the batter, 0-2 on Lopez. Outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now Lopez should know Bruce Chin, because Chin came up at the Braves. But Ralph, as a former catcher, I can tell you, has no effect.
Well, the catcher calls the pitches, but the pitcher can throw them.
And Lopez can hit him. Picks up a base hit leading off the 5th inning.
Shortstop.
Ray Sanchez will be the batter with Javi Lopez on first base. Boy, they've done a whale of a job here at Shea Stadium just a few days ago. Relief help was working out of Shea Stadium. The Mets did a terrific job with the relief help here at Shea Stadium. Applause for the whole Met organization. Kevin McCarthy, Susan Lucci. They did a great job here at Shea Stadium. Up high to Ray Sanchez.
Sanchez not in a sacrifice situation here in the tie ball game of 1-1 at the ball game in the 5th inning because the pitcher is due up next.
1-0 and Sanchez. This could be 2. 1. Got him. 6, 4, 3. Double play. Ordonez to Fonzie to Zeal.
Well, a good pivot by Alfonso. Got a lot on the throw, and the double play pulled off. The second one in this ball game by the Mets.
Jason Marquis, the batter. Chin's pitch is a strike. So Bruce Chin has to be wired tonight, pitching against the organization that signed him.
And also traded him.
Right. They also took him through the minor leagues, helped him develop into a major leaguer, and then, obviously, lost confidence. Sent him to Philadelphia, and the Phillies sent him to New York.
Well, they got a good pitcher for him.
Yeah.
They got Alan Ashby.
Yeah.
So they gave up some talent to get some talent. Although Ashby didn't pan out to be the player they thought he was.
And a left-handed pitcher, a young left-hander, big decision on the part of the Braves. But John Sherhost has done a great job.
He's done a fantastic job. For a lot of Braves, they've been in first place in the National League East since 1991.
There's John. Bill Bartholomew right there. Bill owned the Braves and sold them to Ted Turner. He's still chairman of the company.
He owned the Braves when they moved to Atlanta.
He says he can never go back to Milwaukee. Well, the Braves go back to their dugout, then to the field. The Mets are coming in. The Braves go down. They fail to score. We go to the bottom of the 5th, all tied at 1. Tomorrow night, Channel 11. Sunday, Fox Sports Net. If you can't make it out to Shea, that's where you can see the games. Fouled off by Ray Ordonez. The Mets need a run to go ahead. They're all tied at 1. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning.
They had a chance to go ahead, but Caminetti, the newly acquired third baseman, and was at one time the MVP in the National League, made one of the great plays to pick up the final out of the inning, last inning.
Outside to Ray Ordonez, 1 ball and 1 strike. I'm sure when they picked up Caminetti, they had to talk to Chipper Jones because Caminetti was going to play third base when given an opportunity, and Chipper would have to move to another position. And he has tonight. He's in left field. Fouled off, so it's 1 and 2 on Ray Ordonez.
And usually that means that the player has to okay that, and a lot of players won't move. Now Chipper Jones, basically an infielder, is now playing the outfield.
Yeah.
Caminetti has been a third baseman all his life, and with one of the greatest arms of any third baseman ever.
Ordonez fouls the ball off and out of play. So we'll do it again at 1 and 2. Yeah, that's a tough thing. Years ago, you'd have trouble getting the guy to give up his position.
But take usually a pretty good sum of money to get him to move to another position.
That's modern day.
Modern day.
Yeah,
yes.
the other years ago, they didn't do that.
Well, they said you either move or we'll see you play somewhere else.
That's right. Ordonez is a shortstop. He'll remain a shortstop. Did he check it? No, he didn't, says Marty Foster, the first base umpire. Well, folks, you can be a part of tonight's America, a tribute to heroes, and help the families of the victims in the September 11th tragedy. Log on to outside.
Log on to outside?
No, log on to, let me spell it. Tribute to heroes.org or 1-866, let's get the number again, 1-866 to unite. That's 1-866 to unite. Tribute to heroes.org is the website. You can be part of tonight's America, a tribute to heroes. Certainly was quite a ceremony prior to the game tonight, orchestrated by the New York Mets. And the big guy, Tim Dunkel, was involved in the creative process. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Mets were in meetings for many days, planning tonight's the ceremony tonight prior to the game.
Didn't have that many days, really. They were talking about playing this series in Atlanta, and then all of a sudden they said, no, it's going to be here.
With Dave Howard and the crew here at Shea Stadium. Of course, the Met players have been so involved. There's a drive to left field. Chipper Jones is there, makes the grab. So Chin's out, 2 down. Players wearing the hats first night in Pittsburgh when they went out for introductions. Then they've been wearing the hats ever since during the game. Quite a turnout from the folks here in New York. Just to think, at one time, everybody thought we were going down to Atlanta to play these 3 games. Rudy Giuliani, the mayor of New York, has done a great job in leading this city. Wanted the Mets back in town, so they're playing here tonight. There's a strike to Matt Watton. 0-1 on the Mets right fielder. Still no score. The Marlins and the Phillies, they're in the 8th inning at the vet. Down low to Lawton. 1 ball and 1 strike. Lawton takes up high, so he's up on the count. Jason Marquis pitching a huge game for the Braves tonight. There's a line drive up the middle, base hit. So Lawton's on with 2 outs. And he can run.
The second base.
The batter now with 2 men gone here at Shea Stadium, the Fonz. He's 0 for 2. The Mets had some thunder in Pittsburgh in their lineup. They had the home run ball going for them. Up high to Fonzie, 1 ball and no strikes. The Fonz has been swinging a pretty good bat lately, Ralph.
He has been swinging much better than he did when he had the bad back.
He takes outside, 2-0.
You know one thing about watching hitters hit, you notice when they take a pitch, how they take the ball. And when they take it in hitting position without either breaking their back or moving their shoulders, you know they are really on the ball.
And Fonzie's been doing that lately. And he picks up a base hit to left field. So the Mets have runners on first and second with 2 men out for the big guy, Mike Piazza.
Piazza in his first 2 times up, the pitch track. This is the first time, and he hits the pitch that's inside down the left field line for a double. They pitched him outside in the second at bat, and they doubled to right center field. So where do they go now?
Well, our friends at Oral Health, America's National Spit Tobacco Education Program, would like to remind you that smokeless does not mean harmless. Whoa!
Or he had a pitch right there to hit and just was a shade behind it.
93-mile-per-hour fastball.
Ball's out of way, and he had a good swing, but not just a fraction behind that ball.
Shea Stadium is jumping. 0-1 on Piazza. Runners on first and second. Swung on it, missed. 0-2.
All right, here it's a hard slider breaking out over the outside part of the plate, out of the strike zone. Very good pitch by Jason.
Big at bat for Piazza and the Mets. Fouls it back right below us.
By the direction of the foul ball, it was straight back, so he had the ball timed perfectly and was just underneath it.
So Marquis has been challenging him. It's 0-2. Piazza with 2 at-bats, 2 doubles, and he scored the only run of the game. The Mets and the Braves are tied at 1. Down low. Will he challenge him with the heater again? Inside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. A meeting on the mound now between Lopez and Marquis.
Lopez is going to wear the grass out going out to the mound.
Well, if you weren't around for the ceremony, you get a chance to see it. It was a terrific ceremony here at Shea Stadium. And one of the things that happened on the field, prior to going back to their respective dugouts, the Braves and the Mets met in the middle of the diamond, shaking hands and embracing. Quite a scene here at Shea. Inside. Full count on Piazza.
Well, that was almost like a prize fighter coming to the ring in the center and shaking hands, and then
it was a battle. I've never seen it before. What a scene. People in this country coming together in all walks of life. And now it's a national pastime, baseball. 3-2 pitch. Ground ball at third. Caminelli tags the runner Lawton, and that'll do it for the Mets. So, the scene here at Shea Stadium, in front of a big crowd. We played 5. The Mets and the Braves in a big contest, and they're all tied at 1.
So it's a 1-0 ball game. I'm a 1-1 ball game, and we're going to the 6th inning.
And leading off for the Braves will be Giles. Giles will be followed by Franco and then Jones, and he takes a strike. So Marcus Giles walked and flied to right field. Foul out of play. I want to salute the video department here at Shea Stadium. Putting on quite a night using the video and the Diamond Vision board. Foul out of play. Mentioned Tim Gunkel, Jimmy Plummer, Sheila Rehill, Vito Vitiello, Chris Granozio, Joe Consoli. Congratulations on putting together quite a package for the pregame ceremony. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Giles. Up high, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the 1-2 pitch, the breaking ball misses outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Up high, 3-2 on Giles. Got him. One man down here in the 6th inning.
Well, it's 3-2 and a big pitch there. Breaking ball. And Giles looking fastball goes after the pitch out of the strike zone, and he struck out. That was a big out there.
So 1 man out. Julio Franco will be the batter. He's 0 for 2 in this game. Franco will be followed by Chipper Jones. Bruce Chin, and along with Jason Marquis, has pitched so far a very good ball game.
Difference in this ball game has been the fielding of Caminetti at third base. He turned this game around for the Braves. Had a great play to keep the Mets from taking the lead at 2-1, and then also got a good play off on Piazza with a run up there.
And that's a good one. So it's a battle of the gloves here at Shea. 2 down.
Well, the reaction play right here by Bruce Chin as he takes the bouncy ball from Julio Franco, picks up the second out, and now the man you have to watch, Larry Jones.
Yeah, Chipper Jones, you can't allow Chipper Jones to beat you. You pick out a guy on a team and you neutralize him. Don't let him hit anything. He's the one guy that can go over that wall because he's done it this year 36 times.
Not only this year against the Mets, every year he's ever played against the
Batting
Mets. He's
300.
killed them.
How about 300 average? How many years?
6 years.
Gets the ball toward the end of the bat. A lot of real estate out there. And Peyton makes the grab. So that'll do it for the Braves here in the 6th. And they go quietly. We played 5.5 on an emotional night at Shea. We're all tied. Bottom of the 6th, Ventura the batter. He takes a strike. He'll be followed by Shinjo. Ventura 1 for 2 in his game. Pops it up. Here's that man Caminetti again. He's under it and makes the grab. 1 down. So far we have seen superb pitching and good defense. Big crowd on hand. This is the first of 3 against the Braves. Then the Mets go on the road. They'll travel to Montreal for 3 and then to Atlanta for 3. And keep in mind, they will be back in New York to take on the Pirates and then end the season with the Expos. 0-1 on Shinjo, who's 0 for 1, and he has a sacked fly. Now that's a pitcher's pitch. Right on the black. They used to say right on the black. There's no more black.
Well, it's on the right in the corner, and didn't throw it any better.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Down low, 1-2. There used to be a piece of rubber, black rubber, that would go right around the plate. And that's in fact, it was right here, here, but there's no more black. But I guess you can still use the term, eh? Players do. Here's the 1-2 pitch. There's a line drive base hit. It looked like Shinjo was fooled, but was able to get the head of the bat on the ball and pop it into right field.
He was out in front, but he served it into right field. Chance for Zio. Watch this. He's way out in front. Body is over here, and he just slaps it there.
So base hit off the bat of Shinjo. Mets have a base runner with 1 out. Todd Zeile will be the batter. He had a home run in the last 2 games in Pittsburgh. They check Shinjo at first. Outside to Zeile, 1-0. Shinjo with the lead. Zeile takes a strike, so it's 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out.
Still a veteran ball player. He was looking curveball right there, a slider, and got the fastball. Not many hitters look curveball.
Boy, if they look curveball, they'll be a good breaking ball hitter, and they're going to see a steady diet of fastballs.
A lot of broken bats.
I remember a guy who played with Ralph looked for a breaking ball from Nolan Ryan, said he didn't want to be embarrassed by Nolan's breaking ball. He was swinging when the fastball was in the glove. Down low, 2-1.
It also takes a lot of guts.
Oh boy, I'm telling you.
Wow. 100-mile-an-hour fastball and you're looking curve.
Perez and Reed warming up in the bullpen. Neither one gets up there at 100 miles an hour. But Marquis has shown real good stuff tonight. He's got that fastball up to about 94 miles an hour. Shinjo with the lead. Boy, right on the corner again.
Oh, look at this pinpoint control. Now, you saw the catcher shift outside, and you think curveball there, but he threw a fastball. When they shift inside, it'd be a miracle if they threw a curveball.
He's a home plate umpire, Wally Bell, pointing into the Met dugout. Somebody probably was all over Wally Bell.
Once it wasn't Bobby Cox. He's been thrown out in 10 games so far this year.
Now Bobby is showing quite a temper this year. 2-2 pitch, pulled down the third baseline, foul. So we'll do it again at 2-2. They said, let the game begin. And the managers are getting all over the umpire. Now that's our national pastime.
That's back to normal.
Back to
right there.
normal. Marquis has thrown 97 pitches so far in this ball game. Oh, right off Marquis. Look at this 6-4-3 double play with an assist from 1, and he's hurt. He is hurt. He took a bullet off his back, and the ball rolled to the shortstop Sanchez, so scored 1-6-4-3. And Marquis is hurt, but so is Zeile. He just lost a base hit. Look at that. Wow. That hurt. Except the result made him feel a lot better. We're all tied at 1, and we'll be back.
Okay, Fran, Brian Jordan goes after the first pitch from Bruce Chen. No balls, 1 strike. Jordan, a couple of fly balls to center field in this game. It's about hit the Braves 7-4, and the game is tied at 1. We hope you were able to see the pregame ceremonies featuring Diana Ross singing God Bless America. 1-1 to Jordan, as well as Mark Anthony singing the Star Spangled Banner.
They both did a great job, but Diana Ross of God Bless America, boy, she had this place rocking. Mark Anthony did a great job. The whole ceremony is extremely impressive, and if you missed it, I'm sure
you can find it on the web. 2-1 to Jordan. Just go to msgnetwork.com and you'll be able to relive part of what's gone on tonight here on very unique night in the history of Shea Stadium.
Boy, that was a Broadway production, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the rehearsals were pretty good too. Those of us who were here well before the game were treated to a couple of Diana Ross's rehearsals of God Bless America. It was supreme, to say the least. Rip, but right at Ventura. Well, Jordan made good contact, but Ventura was there. One away. Let's take a look at our New York Marriott Marquis pitching matchup. Good starts for both pitchers.
Marquis throwing the ball very well. So is Chin. Good control, good velocity, good breaking balls, and as important, good defense behind him. Marquis helped himself out last inning. He took a ball off his back that had base hit written all over it, and the ball rolled to Sanchez, the shortstop, turned into a 1-6-4-3 double play. You wonder if he'll go back out there.
Big cut by Caminetti. It's 0-2.
Nobody in the bullpen, so Marquis must be okay.
It reminded me of a play that affected the Mets indirectly back in 1984. Some of you had cable in those days. Picked up Cubs games, might remember it. Line to right field, a base hit for Caminetti.
By the way, Howie, somebody is up in the bullpen. We can't see him from here, but our cameras will show you those guys in a moment.
Well, Andrew Jones, the sixth batter in the lineup. Remlinger is the left-hander. Steve Reed, the right-hander, as they work a little closer to the bottom of the order. But Fran, the play I'm talking about, as we see the pinch runner at first base, Caminetti, leaving the ball game.
He's been a big difference in his game with his glove.
Jesse Garcia is the pinch runner at first. There was a play in '84 when the Mets were fighting the Cubs for first place. Pete Rose for the Reds. Line one right off the rear end of Lee Smith, and it rolled to Sandberg for the final out of the game. With the Mets and Cubs going neck and neck right around late August. You see plays like that, you start thinking certain things are meant to be.
That's right.
Certain ones aren't.
Well, the Mets had a break in Pittsburgh when Jay Payton hit the base with a ball and went on to score a run and get the Mets going when they were trailing 2-0 in the final game of that series on Wednesday afternoon.
One out, one on. Andrew Jones, nothing for two. Upstairs, 1-0. By the way, make sure to stay with us after the third out here at the top of the seventh. Liza Minnelli will sing New York, New York. I believe it was Liza's version that was recorded before Frank Sinatra's more famous version.
Absolutely. There's a story to that, too. A gentleman named Tommy Volando owned the music. And Liza Minnelli recorded it, and Tommy Volando was a friend of Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra said, "Do you mind if I record that song?" He said, "Go ahead." He recorded the song, and when he heard it, he says, "You recorded it wrong." Tommy told the story.
2-1 to Andrew Jones.
Well, Chin has been mixing it up, changing speeds. Look at this, way out in front. And Jones, we talked about him earlier. He struggled in Philadelphia. Couldn't make contact.
Now, if you saw the pregame show, you heard some comments from Chen about just how important this start is for him. Really for a myriad of reasons, not the least of which is the Mets standing vis-a-vis the Atlanta Braves right now. But, of course, the situation that is being highlighted, probably the wrong word to use, highlighted, but certainly being paid attention to tonight here at Shea Stadium, plus the fact he's pitching against a team that brought him through their farm system and then gave up on him. He's had a lot running through his mind prior to this start, and he's held up beautifully to this point.
He's pitched very, very well. So Rick White now throwing in the bullpen, but Chen has been extremely impressive, along with Jason Marquis.
Popped him up. Back behind first, Zeal calls. And that's the second out. Good job by Chen, because he was working Garcia real hard at first base.
You gotta hope that this guy stays cold. Andrew Jones. He's got 31 home runs and 90 RBIs, and even dropped the ball in the series in Philadelphia. By the way, speaking of Philadelphia, still no score. The Marlins and the Phillies hit the bet. Talked about that ball club and that pitching staff. They can put a pitcher on the mound who can give up 10 runs in the first inning. Or he has the ability to shut you down for 12 innings.
Lopez struck out, single to center.
Oh, boy.
Play by Zeal.
That was an excellent play by Todd Zeal. That's one thing you don't want, is to throw a ball away. Zeal going back to first base. That's an outstanding play to be going back and then have to dive for that ball.
Garcia trying to peer around Zeal at first as Chen delivers the strike. It's 0-1. Garcia running for Caminetti on at first with 2 men away. A 1-1 game here in the 7th inning. Garcia's had quite a workout between Andrew Jones' at bat and now with Lopez. Chen is bared down. And Zeal. They've got him picked off. The high throw, but Zeal gets it down to Ordonez.
Oh! He was called safe at second base, and Fonzie had a shot at going after him again because he came off the base. And Fonzie didn't go after him. Mark Hirschbeck, the second base umpire, said Fonzie missed him. Take a look at it. Todd Zeal moving into the infield, taking a high throw. The throw to Fonzie's offline, but Fonzie looked like he got his feet tied up and couldn't come back with the glove.
I think Fonzie was expecting him to start his slide.
Well, you see what happened when Fonzie reached for the ball. It took him off the base and looked like his feet were tied up. Then he had to come back. Now see, he had him right there, but he didn't go back after him. Did he tag him? Let's see. No, he was safe. Now watch him come off the base. He's got him right there, and Fonzie doesn't tag him. It looked like Fonzie was looking in his glove to make sure he hit the ball. You know, well, it looked like his foot was on the base when Fonzie made contact with him, and then he went off the base.
So 1-1 to Lopez with a go-ahead run now in scoring position. And it's sliced the other way, a foul ball, 1-2.
Well, you got Lopez batting, and you have Ray Sanchez on deck. Javi Lopez is a good hitter. He's having an off season. He's got 16 home runs with 61 RBIs. I'd be very careful with him with first base open. And Ray Sanchez, who's never been much of an offensive threat on deck.
The crowd into it. Chen trying to get out of it. Little pop-up. Is there room for Zeal? Nope.
Yeah, Javi Lopez this year not having the production that he's used to having as a hitter. And unfortunately, he's playing out his contract. He's batting .261 with 16 home runs, 61 RBIs. You can usually count on him for about 25 dingers.
Had one last night, helping the Braves beat the Phillies. Here, the Braves and Mets are tied. So are the Phillies and Marlins. And Lopez gets tired of waiting. Slowly hit. Chen slow to get off the mound. He'll have to hold on to it. Although he does try and catch Garcia napping at third. But now the Braves have runners at the corners with 2 out. And we'll see what Bobby Valentine does here. He's had the right-hander White throwing. A right-hand hitter, Ray Sanchez, coming up.
And here's a situation with runners on first and third. Is look at that play again. Really don't play for Chen or for Ventura. If the Braves decide to put Javi Lopez in motion, rarely do the Mets throw through. But in this situation with Javi Lopez running, they might. And Bobby Cox, knowing that, might put a play on, activating both runners. Sanchez, not an RBI guy.
And a chopper. Ordonez, strong throw, got him. Chen gets out of it. The Braves leave 2 aboard. The game remains tied. And stick around because Liza Minnelli is about to deliver her rendition of New York, New York. There's Liza being escorted fittingly by a policeman on her right arm, a fireman on her left arm. And Liza Minnelli, who originally recorded the song that has become something of a local anthem. Frank Sinatra, of course, has the more widely circulated version. Liza Minnelli with the 7th inning stretch about to begin.
City in the world,
set to deliver New York, New York.
By one of the greatest entertainers of all time, Liza Minnelli. Miss Minnelli has invited some of tonight's honored guests to join her on the field.
This is so exciting. I'm so happy to be here. Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I wanna be a part of it. New York, New York. These vagabond shoes are longing to stray and step around the heart of it. New York, New York. I wanna wake up in a city that doesn't sleep. To find I'm king of the hill, top of the heap. My little town blues are melting away. I'll make a brand new start of it in old New York. If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New I wanna wake up in a city that doesn't sleep. To find I'm king of the hill, head of the list, cream of the crop at the top of the heap. My little town melting away. I'll make a brand new start of it in old New York. If I can make it there, I'd make it anywhere. Come on, come through, New York,
Steve Reed will take over the pitching for the Atlanta Braves. Last pitch that Jason Marquis threw was lined off of him by Todd Zeile. It became a 1-6-4-3 double play.
So we'll see if the ball hit by Zeile, knocking Marquis out of the game, we think will help the Mets. Marquis was pitching an excellent ball game. And he was as tough as Bruce Ginn. So now we go, and it'll be a battle of the bullpens.
Yeah, that's Wes Helms who's going to play third base now. Part of a double switch.
And keep in mind, Caminetti has been superb defensively tonight.
Caminetti made a great defensive play on Jay Payton earlier in the game. Jay's last time up. And he takes a strike from Reed. Bottom third of the Mets batting order. Payton, Ordonez, and Chen to do the hitting for New York. In Philadelphia, this just in, the Phillies have scored a run in the bottom of the ninth inning and defeated the Florida Marlins 1-0. No balls, 2 strikes to Payton. So that means the Mets cannot gain ground on second place Philadelphia tonight. The Phillies 4 games ahead of the Mets. John Franco getting ready in the bullpen now for New York. And this puts additional pressure on the Braves, who need to beat the Mets here to stay a game and a half in front of second place Philadelphia. So the Phillies applying some pressure. One and 2 to Payton.
Well, I guarantee you all eyes in the Philadelphia clubhouse are on this game here in New York. Just like the other night in Pittsburgh after the game on Tuesday night, as you look at that score on the scoreboard here. Tuesday night in Pittsburgh, the Mets were watching the Philly game at the Vet in Philadelphia when Scott Rowland won that game with a base hit.
Fouled away by Payton. Who could have imagined as recently as, what, August the 17th, when the Mets were, I believe it was 13 and a half games back, that they would be playing significant pennant race baseball late in September. And here they are, trailing by 5.5, trying to pick up another one on the Braves and keep pace now with the Phillies. It's the first of 6 meetings between the Mets and Braves. Slider missed, 2-2. Mets have 6 with the Expos and 3 more with the Pirates. That's their 15-game remaining schedule. So McEwing perhaps will pinch hit here in the 7th inning. Joe with a bat on the top step. Pitcher due up third. Lifted to left. Chipper Jones over to the gap to make the catch. One away in the 7th frame. Let's look at the Toyota in-game box.
And for the New York Mets, the box score is clean. Piazza 2 for 3. Ventura 1 for 3 in his game. Gil 1 for 3, was robbed of a hit by Jason Marquis, the pitcher, when he backdoored him. He got the ball and he took it off the back and went to the shortstop, Ray Sanchez, and the Braves turned a double play. So now it's up to Ray Ordonez.
Ray flied to right, struck out. Fastball taken high, 1-0. And it's Mark Johnson waiting on deck. That would be the kind of matchup Bobby Valentine would want against a side-arming right-hander like Reed. And the question becomes, would Bobby Cox allow that matchup? Wouldn't think so.
And Reed throws fastballs down. He tries to keep his breaking ball down, and Mark Johnson dominates the pitch down low.
Left-hander Mike Remlinger had been throwing earlier in the game. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Ordonez.
They tell right-handers, hitting instructors will tell right-handers, when a right-hander drops down like this, don't try to pull up. You'll tend to pull off the ball. If you can try to hit that ball back up the middle, go the other way, you'll stay with the ball longer.
Ray stays alive. Now we'll see how the managerial wheels spin. Mark Johnson on deck. Remlinger throwing. It would still give Bobby Valentine the opportunity to go to a right-hander once Remlinger comes into the game. Perhaps that's why McEwing had been holding that bat around the top step of the dugout. Right now it's Johnson in the on-deck circle, and perhaps McEwing to pick up for him. Ray fights it off, and they want to make sure it stays foul, and emphatically so. Steve Reed, he almost clocked Helms with that. Miss Helms taking over at third for Caminetti after Garcia ran for Ken Caminetti. Helms was splitting time at first base earlier this year with Rico Brogna.
Well, that ball running in, and Ordonez hit on top of it. And it stays foul. Reed wanted to make sure it was going to stay foul.
Helms found out somewhat painfully. Still a ball and 2 strikes on Ray. That's about hit Atlanta 7-6. We're in a 1-1 tie here in the 7th inning. Outfield fairly shallow and around towards right. And it's Luke. Andrew Jones has time. That ball hung up. A couple of fly ball outs against Steve Reed. And now we'll see the wheels turn.
And here comes Bobby Cox. He's going to go to the bullpen. He's not going to let Mark Johnson, with one swing of the bat, put the Mets ahead. So it looks like they'll bring in the southpaw Remlinger, and we'll see what Bobby Valentine does. So late in the game, managers are playing chess. Here comes Remlinger into the ball game, and Mark Johnson's being called back to the dugout.
So Remlinger will trot in from the bullpen. He'll face Joe McEwing when we get back. And now the former Met Remlinger will take over the pitching for the Atlanta Braves and make his 72nd appearance and go after Joe McEwing. 2 outs, nobody on. 1-1 game here in the 7th inning. Big cut by Joe, 0-1.
Well, Joe McEwing has done it all for the Mets. He's done it as a utility player. He can play every day. They take him off the bench as a pinch hitter. He's been spectacular.
And the fastball, 0-2.
Remlinger has found new life in Atlanta. He's thrown the ball very well. Played his collegiate ball at Dartmouth College. So he came in the ball game and bounced the Dartmouth grad Mark Johnson into the dugout.
Doesn't like those intramural matchups. In fact, last night Remlinger gave up a home run to Pat Burrell of the Phillies, and that was the first home run that he'd given up since Desi Relaford of the Mets hit one back in late June here at Shea Stadium. It tied the game in the 9th inning. That was the weekend the Braves traded John Rocker, and Reed and Carsey were just getting to New York. Remlinger started to work some save opportunities.
Yeah.
Blew that one. Little looper down the right field line, a foul ball.
Sounded like Joe McEwing. Yep, I guess he did break his bat with that swing. Hit the ball off the end of the bat. Boy, they get that pine tar up there so high. I mean, it's a surprise they do. It's almost like it would retard the progress of the ball, but I guess it doesn't, as McEwing way out in his front foot. He couldn't reach any further out there, could he? Hit the ball right off the end of the bat to stay alive.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. He gets jammed there. And the pop-up handled by Javi Lopez, and that retires the side. Now we go to the 8th inning in a 1-1 tie, and John Franco, so deeply affected as we all have been. John, in a personal sense, as we explained earlier, his son's Little League coach, one of those lost at the World Trade Center. John so close to the fire and police people, and of course his dad, having worked with the sanitation department for many years, pitched under very emotional circumstances on Monday and wound up the winning pitcher in the first game back.
It was quite a scene in Pittsburgh when the Mets took the field for introductions with the hats on. The following day they wore the hats while playing, and they've kept them on.
So Franco picks up for Bruce Chen, who was marvelous. Chen going the first 7 innings, allowing 6 hits and 1 run. He walked 5. Pardon me, struck out 5, and he walked 1. Only batter he walked the first one that he faced, Marcus Giles, who immediately was erased on a double play. So now as we go to the 8th inning, it'll be a former Met, Bernard Gilkey. Originally, they had told us that Helms was slotted 9th in Bobby Cox's order, and that the pitcher would bat in Ken Camminetti's 5th slot. But obviously, that turned out to be erroneous. And so it's Gilkey batting for the pitcher Remlinger. Helms batting 5th instead. 0-1 to Gilkey. Fastball taken high. Bernard went to spring training with his former team, the St. Louis Cardinals, this year. They released him. And then the Braves signed him to a minor league contract early in the season. In fact, when the Mets were playing the Braves here at Shea on the first homestand in April. His career year came as a New York Met back in 1996.
Boy, right after that, surprisingly, Bernard Gilkey, who was a hard worker, just lost it. At least playing to that level. It was like overnight, Howie.
He had 30 homers, 117 RBIs, batting .317 in that career year, far exceeding anything that he'd come close to doing before or since. Fouled away. One of the suspicions was that his eyes had deteriorated to a point where it affected him, and so he went to get the laser surgery, which has now become commonplace. He hasn't handled Franco well at all. But when Gilkey had the laser surgery, he did it in really one of the first waves of those who elected that option, and he went out of the country to do it. He went to Calgary, in the province of Alberta in Canada, to have it done several years back. Got him. John Franco throwing that signature changeup. Gilkey's gone, 1 away.
One thing that happens in baseball today, they have tremendous medical men in baseball. As you look at that last pitch to Bernard Gilkey, he just eats up hitters with that type of pitch.
You can be a part of tonight's America, a tribute to heroes, and help the families of the victims of the September 11th tragedy. Log on to tributetoheroes.org or call 1-866-TO-UNITE. Make your donations now. Strike 1 on the outside corner to Marcus Giles, who's 0 for 2 with a walk. One and one. John has battled through some elbow difficulties recently, even after the game on Monday in Pittsburgh. That elbow was still rather stiff. And John's needed a couple of extra days to get ready. That's line to right. Lawton closing quickly, and he makes the catch. Outstanding play by Matt Lawton, 2 men away.
But that reminds you of the catch Ron Swoboda made in the World Series. Look at this play. Ball's hit hard. Lawton moving to his right rapidly, and the dive. Outstanding play by Matt Lawton. And now there are 2 men out.
Not too far from the spot where Ron Swoboda took one away from Brooks Robinson. Game 4 of the 1969 World Series. So now it's Julio Franco. Lined into that double play and then flied to right, grounded back to the box. And Franco misses outside, ball 1. Franco's a lifetime .301 hitter in the major leagues. Breaking in back in 1982 with the Phillies. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Always had that unorthodox stance at the plate with the hands held way up.
10 years ago, he led the American League in hitting
with the same stance. So it's been effective for Franco.
Batted .341 that year as a Texas Ranger. Played for Bobby Valentine.
And look at the way he stands at the plate with his knees. He's afraid that he's going to open up too soon. That's why guys will do that.
It's almost bowl-like,
yeah.
doesn't it?
You know, guys are so concerned with opening up too soon, they do anything to tie themselves up just a little bit longer. Look at that stance. Looks uncomfortable, doesn't it? But if you slow everything down, the good hitting instructors will show you that the hands go back into hitting position. There's a stride. The hands that throw the bat through. Stance is just supposed to be for a comfortable position, but if that's comfortable.
We've seen some pretty awkward stances over the years. I know a lot of kids grow up imitating other hitters' stances. That'd be a little difficult to pull off and hit well.
Look at the knees. He wants to make contact. Kneecap to kneecap.
Ball 4. Only the second walk given up by Mets pitching in this game. Marcus Giles, the first batter in the ball game, drew a walk. And now Julio Franco at first with 2 men away, and Chipper Jones coming up. Let's take a look at where Chipper Jones ranks among the league leaders. Brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. He had hits going back to '95.
You see Dante Bichette, and you get Chipper Jones right behind him. 1,215. That's going back to '95. You see Garrett Anderson and Roberto Alomar.
So Julio Franco out of the ball game, and the pinch runner for the Atlanta Braves at first base, Corey Aldridge. And Aldridge gets back easily.
And again, we talked about it earlier when Chipper Jones is at the plate. You don't want him to beat you.
So he's handled Franco well. Aldridge trying to get a read on him. Zeal staying in front of him. And Piazza reaches. 1 ball, no strikes to Chipper Jones.
Well, it's a situation where if you walk him, you force the runner down to second base into scoring position. But you don't want this guy to get that ball up and over that wall and hit a tweener as you look at Armando Benitez in the bullpen.
Brian Jordan, a right-hand batter on deck. 2-0.
It looks to me like John certainly doesn't want this guy to do any damage, and I don't blame him. You got Armando Benitez throwing in the bullpen if he has to face Jordan. That's fine. It's the 8th inning, but he can do it. This guy's batting .319, 36 and 94, 101 runs scored.
Nothing close yet.
No. I know it's a tough thing to do, to put him to walk him intentionally. Well, in this case, it's intentional if he walks him on his 4th pitch. But take a chance with Jordan, the next hitter. I'm sure this has been discussed by the Mets in their clubhouse meetings not to let this guy beat him.
Jordan 0 for 5 against Benitez. Should he get into the game? We'll see. But a line drive into center. So on 3-0, Chipper Jones shoots one through the middle, and now we'll see whether or not it's Franco or Benitez to face Brian Jordan.
Well, that's probably a break for the Mets. I'm sure Bobby Cox was hoping a ball that would be hitting into the gap. Now you take a look at our pitch tracks. 1, 2, and 3 are off the plate. 4th one, not bad.
The National Spit Tobacco Education Program and its chairman, Joe Garagiola, would like to remind you that smokeless does not mean harmless.
Well, Charlie Hoff talking to the bullpen. I'm sure Armando Benitez is ready. You get the big fella who's overpowering. You got to go with your money, man. Mike Piazza is going to go out and get Benitez a little more time. I would be surprised if Bobby doesn't bring in Benitez in this situation.
Well, if you believe in prior appearances, Jordan, a .308 hitter, 4 for 13 against Franco, while, as we mentioned, against Benitez, Brian Jordan 0 for 5. So I think, just as Fran speculates, perhaps a time buy here. Charlie Huff getting a pitch-by-pitch account from Randy Neiman in the bullpen.
It's usually, you know, it's funny. You read the body of work that he's had against both pitchers, but you know, you got an overpowering guy in the bullpen who's a dominator. And here comes Charlie Huff. I got to believe they're going to go to the big guy in the bullpen. If you're going to lose, you got to lose with your money man out of the bullpen. John Franco has runners on first and second. And John, as we have seen, makes a lot of money on pitching out of the strike zone. He gets veteran hitters and rookies alike to chase bad balls out of the strike zone. But you get a guy, and you know, you mentioned how he's been nursing that sore elbow. So Bobby Valentine's going to take all that into consideration, along with the difference in stuff. With John Franco, finesse pitcher, Benitez, a power pitcher.
And a nice hand for Franco as he departs, leaving 2 aboard in a tie game.
Armando Benitez on the mound.
68th appearance for Benitez.
And third base is open and Helms is on deck. So you do have some room for error.
Line to left center, and the Braves are going to take the lead. Here comes Aldridge in to score. To third goes Chipper Jones. Into second goes Jordan. And on the first pitch from Benitez, Brian Jordan, who had been 0 for 5 against Armando, delivers the go-ahead run for Atlanta. It's 2-1 Braves.
First pitch, fastball, bang. Good hitting by Jordan. The ball was out over the plate. Jordan had a pitch he could wail on, and he did it. Hit it in the gap in left center field. One runs in, and then they hold Chipper Jones at third base, but that ball was hit very hard by Jordan. So Jordan's on second base, and Helms was going to be the batter.
Well, now Dave Martinez, a left-hand hitter, and of course with the benches fortified by the September call-ups, it's a lot easier for managers to spend players. And so Dave Martinez will be written by Bobby Cox onto the lineup card. Of course, first base is open. Right-hand hitter Andrew Jones would follow Martinez. And so we'll see how Bobby Valentine plays it here. They pitch to the left-hand batter. Or they take their chances with Andrew Jones, who's been held hitless tonight. The Braves have taken the lead. Of course, Atlanta needs to win to stay a game and a half in front of the Phillies. And the Mets' margin for error is obviously close to nil. Lose a game to the Braves, not only do you lose ground in the standings, you lose a date on the calendar, which at this juncture of the season is equally important.
Well, you got a left-handed hitter, you got a struggling right-handed hitter, but a good hitter when he's comfortable on deck.
Well, at least for now, they go after Dave Martinez. And the veteran left-hand hitter takes outside, ball 1.
You load up the bases, you have forces at all the bases, and Andrew Young, I should say Andrew Jones, has been struggling. You see the runners on third and second, Chipper Jones on third, Brian Jordan on second.
1-1. And Fran, if there should be a ground ball in the hole where the only play for the Mets would be to first base, well, Dave Martinez can hardly run at all right now. He's had bone spurs under his right kneecap. Just watching some of the games between the Braves and Phillies earlier this week, it was very difficult for Martinez to run.
What they're expecting from Martinez right here is a base hit into the outfield.
2-1.
Bobby Cox sent Martinez to the plate because he's left-handed, hoping that he can drive in a run and add to the lead. It'd be a cushion in the ninth.
2 in scoring position. Chipper Jones at third, Brian Jordan at second. 3-1. Walked him, and that'll load the bases. All of this has happened after 2 are out and nobody on. John Franco struck out Bernard Gilkey. Marcus Giles was robbed of a hit by Matt Lawton in right field. With it, Julio Franco drew a walk. Chipper Jones singled him to second. Aldridge ran for Franco, and Brian Jordan doubled him home.
And here, as we talked, Andrew Jones is a guy who's a good hitter throughout his young career. Right now, he is struggling. He's 0 for 3 tonight, and he really hasn't had good swings. Of course, that baby can change in a heartbeat.
He's had 2 for his last 18, including tonight. This should be easy for Peyton. And a huge out for Benitez. Yes, the Braves take the lead, but they also leave 3 aboard. So now the Mets will have to try and come from behind as Atlanta pulls in front 2-1. Well, Dave Martinez stays in at first base.
Well, Howie, you mentioned his bad leg, and Lawton is a guy who can run. You wonder if he knows about that bad leg in case he wants to drop the bunt down. Martinez playing at pretty good depth over there.
Keith Lockhart, by the way, now at third base. And Steve Carsey's first pitch on the outside corner. There's Lockhart. I just can't escape needing to mention, Fran. We mentioned Rusty Staub a moment ago. We used to talk about him being a hero for his play for the Mets down the stretch in 1973. Little bouncer foul, 0-2. Well, Rusty's work with that police and firefighters fund over the last 16 years, but especially what he's done over the last 10 days has been nothing short of heroic in the truest sense.
Well, even when he worked in the broadcast booth, Rusty was concentrating most of his energies on the foundation, raising money to help other people, and obviously should be applauded and is. So I know we kid him a lot, but he should be applauded for all of his efforts.
That has been incredibly close to his heart for those 16 years. He lost an uncle who was, I believe, a police officer in the line of duty. And that's one of the things that encouraged Rusty to start the fund. And he has worked tirelessly for years for that cause. So much appreciated under the current circumstances. Breaking ball, and it's 2-2 to Lawton. That's trying to get the leadoff man on here. They trail 2-1 as John Smoltz, the closer these days, gets set for Atlanta. Lawton, Alfonso, and Piazza due up for New York here in the 8th inning. Parsay, the 4th Atlanta pitcher. Ball 3. So Lawton's climbed out of an 0-2 hole, and now he's worked a full count.
Huge pitch coming up from Carsey, who played his high school ball at Christ the King High School here in New York. Quite a sports program at that high school.
Payoff pitch. Hit slowly. Tough play for Sanchez, but he gets it there. One away.
That was a nice play by Sanchez. Nice play. He's been a shortstop. He's got some years on now, and he fills in at shortstop. He's doing a nice job with the Braves. Ball hit to his right, and all he could do is throw off balance. See that short arm throw? Ball goes up by the ear, throws off balance. Look at it right there, bang. It's the only way you can get a guy with good speed. Short arm, bang, he's got him.
One out, nobody on. Alfonso has 1 out of 3. Fastball for a strike. That's off the outside corner, 1-1. Fonzie will hit the ball the other way. Andrew Jones, the center fielder, plays just about everyone to the opposite field. That means the corners can swing around too if necessary. And they can also cheat farther towards the lines. 1 and 2. I mean, just think of the range that Andrew Jones has in center field that gives you so many options defensively on the corners as well.
Oh yeah, Andrew Jones with excellent speed. Now there's a good breaking ball, and Fonzie swinging right over the top. That's where they tell the pitcher they want to throw. That we want you to throw your breaking ball down and away.
And Carsey deals just off the outside corner. Yeah, that was
wow. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's such a good pitch because he threw the curveball there, same height, and then he comes back with the fastball on that same plane the curveball started on, but it's a fastball this time. Tough to react, and Fonzie was lucky that was called the ball.
So the count even. And the breaking ball pulled foul. It's an emotional night for Steve Carsey, as well as he, of course, born in Flushing, Christ the King High School. So this is a return home for Steve Carsey. Missed with a slider, and the count's full.
Well, they got Lawton 3-2. Now it's Fonzie to Piazza. This is the formula right here. Bobby Valentine wants Alfonso and Piazza to hit in either the 8th or 9th inning.
So now it'll be a payoff pitch. And he fights it off. Carsey getting that one up to 97.
Well, they got some great young arms in baseball. I know pitching has been criticized. I'm not sure why, because you talk to the hitters today and they'll tell you these kids can really throw.
Sliced foul.
And Fonzie's had some uncomfortable swings, but he's staying alive. Take a look at Fonzie staying alive, but this is an uncomfortable swing. You see he's pulling off that ball, doing everything in his power to stay in and make contact.
A Travolta swing.
Staying alive.
Javi Lopez wanted to make sure Fonzie wasn't peeking. Well, Carsey is not, I don't think, as upset with that call as the 1-2 pitch that we talked about.
He's not upset with that call. That pitch there, down a little bit's in the strike zone. But as I mentioned, it looked like Fonzie was uncomfortable against Carsey. Now we're going to get a pinch runner. Desi Relaford, take a look at his pitch. And Fonzie was able to check his swing. Ralph was talking about it earlier. When you're comfortable as a hitter, as Ralph said, when you take a pitch, your hands are back in a hitting position. They haven't collapsed. Fonzie's had collapsed. So Fonzie's on first now. Piazza's going to be the batter.
Uncomfortable or not, he still had a very effective at-bat to work the walk out, get Relaford into the game as the pinch runner. And here's the man the Mets want up in this spot, down a run late in the game. 2 doubles and 3 trips. Infield at double play depth. Didn't take long for Relaford to get the uniform dirty. Somewhat. Somewhere.
Well, Javi Lopez has a good arm. He has struggled in throwing runners out. But you're not going to send Piazza. I mean, Relaford, are you going to walk Piazza?
Fastball, 0-1. Carsey has seen Piazza 4 times previously. Mike 1 for 4 against him. Lopez wants it away. And it's hit deep to left center. Andrew Jones on the run. This one has a chance. Home run! Mike Piazza, and the Mets lead 3-2.
Take a look at this. He's got as much power as anybody. He got the arms extended. A long home run. And a curtain call. So Piazza, a two-run home run, and this place exploded. It's been waiting to explode all night. Whoa, Mike Piazza.
0-1 to Robin Ventura.
This crowd was ready. They wanted to shout and scream all night. And boy, did they get an opportunity from Mike Piazza.
Wow. They played baseball at Shea Stadium since 1964. I don't know how this game or even this season is going to turn out. But that may rank among the handful of most memorable home runs in the history of this ballpark.
Well, they had one night to forget as Ventura strikes out. And hopefully for a moment, people were able to forget. And Mike Piazza excited this crowd. They wanted to be excited tonight in the worst way, and Mike Piazza did it. It's been a terrific night, starting with the ceremonies before the game. And Mike Piazza here in the 8th inning takes his pitch. And did he excite this crowd? Over the center field wall, they were ready to just jump and scream, and they got an opportunity.
And why is baseball back? Why was it so important to give fans a few hours to forget about their troubles? Those firefighters smiling because of a baseball game in Flushing.
And the big guy did it.
One of the more dramatic swings Mike Piazza has ever taken. And the Mets will try and hold on in the 9th. We go to the 9th inning. The Mets, for the first time tonight, have taken the lead.
And what a fashion they did it.
41,235 fans are here at Shea Stadium.
It's been really, emotional night for everybody. Starting with the ceremony before the game, and by the way, Fox Sports Net covered that as good as anybody. Terrific production crew here at Shea Stadium. There was a big crowd on hand and highly emotional ceremony before the game, and Mike Piazza in the 8th inning hits a 2-run home run to give the Mets the lead. They need 3 outs to win this ball game to pick up a game on the Braves. And even before the ball game, the players were on the foul lines, and before they took the field and went back to respective dugouts, they shook hands, they embraced. It was just a highly emotional night here at Shea.
Javi Lopez leads off the 9th and fouls one off, 0-1. But of all the poignant scenes that we witnessed tonight, and everybody might have one of their own favorites, to this point, Mike Piazza has produced the one that will stand out, at least to this broadcaster, smiles on the faces of firefighters.
Yeah, and he might be his most important home run. And he's hit a lot of them.
It may have been the power of Piazza that drove the ball over the fence. It's the power of baseball and sports in this country that produced those smiles. No ball, it's 2 strikes.
Mayor of New York is here for a little while tonight. Quite a reception for the mayor, Rudy Giuliani. He's done a magnificent job in leading this great city.
So Benitez ahead of Javi Lopez. 1-2. And just think about some important pitches that have been thrown in somewhat understated circumstances over the last 15 minutes. You have Benitez getting Andrew Jones to fly out, leave the bases loaded, and Carsey not getting the call on that 1-2 pitch to Piazza. That's pulled through the hole. And Lopez is aboard, representing the tying run with his 3rd hit of the game. Carsey, in fact, I believe, was thrown out of the game between innings as he barked at home plate ump Wally Bell, and then Bobby Cox came on to take up the cause.
Well, Lopez steps up and pops that ball to left field. It's ball hard in the hole. So now they pinch run for Lopez, and DJ Surhoff is going to be the hitter.
Mark DeRosa, Fran, will run at first base for Lopez.
So Benitez has his work cut out for him, but he's one of the most dominant pitchers in the game today. It's up to Armando Benitez to close it out.
B.J. Surhoff, also from this area, coming from Rye. Runner goes on the first pitch, and Surhoff fouls it out. Piazza got the worst of it.
Well, they're going to test Mike Piazza's throwing arm. Mike Piazza took it right off the left arm. Coming out of that shoot, it happens so often. That hit off his glove, too. Take another look. Runner in motion, the foul tip. So hit and run. Bobby Cox aggressively starting to move here in the ninth inning. Bobby would rely more on the hit and run than the stolen base.
B.J. Surhoff, along with the Braves, bust up from Philadelphia after last night's game. Said what he saw on television did not do justice to what the image of Lower Manhattan was for him, and it's especially significant to him because he knows to this point he has lost at least one good friend. Hope you caught that in our pregame show. B.J. Surhoff, one of many players, giving their thoughts and emotions at this most emotional time in the history of this country. Mets trying to provide what would be, within the context of baseball, a very emotional win. And creep a game closer. They hold on here. They'd be 4.5 out, 5 in the loss column. 4 behind the Philadelphia Phillies, who won their game tonight 1-0 against Florida. Philadelphia 4 ahead of New York in the loss column. 0-2 now to Surhoff.
Well, you know when he throws overpowering fastball, slider, and a splitter. The splitter occasionally he'll bounce it.
That's Keith Lockhart on deck. Surhoff is 0 for 3 against Armando Benitez. Infield set up for 2. Ventura drops a couple of steps back of the bag at third. And Piazza keeps it in front of him. Good play by Mike.
Yeah, you can't be afraid to call that pitch because Armando Benitez likes to throw it. And there it is, the splitter that's bounced, but Mike kept the ball in front of him. When you call that pitch, it used to be only the breaking ball. You would think, okay, I'm calling it over the top curveball. More than likely, I'm going to have to block it. But with the introduction of the split finger fastball, you got to be ready to block that one because the good one is down low and a lot of times bounces.
So DeRosa getting an instant workout, coming on to run for Javi Lopez. In the air, back behind third, room for whom? No one. Shinjo, Ventura, and Ordonez all gave chase. After Surhoff, Keith Lockhart, and then Marcus Giles. Pitcher's spot comes up after Giles, second in the batting order for the Atlanta Braves. Benitez ready. Got him. 1 man away in the ninth.
Well, he sets you up with the good fastball. and then you're wired, and he throws you a splitter. That's a swing and a splitter. That's what happens when you face a guy with a fastball at 97 miles an hour. When he throws a good splitter, that's how you swing. It's an overmatch.
So Benitez has one out. Now Lockhart. Ordinarily one of the Braves' better pinch hitters. This is not a pinch hitting experience for him as he came in for defense in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Lockhart 15 out of 43 as a pinch hitter this year. Last year he didn't get his first pinch hit till the end of the season. That was an aberration for him. Nothing and 1.
So Benitez right away pulling the string on Lockhart, getting away out in front.
87 miles per hour worth of pulling the string.
Imagine that.
Man. Again, and it's 0-2.
And there's no way you can go up there looking for that with this guy pitching. You got to be ready to get the head of the bat out there. And consequently, when you swing at that splitter, it's an uncomfortable at bat.
Slowly, he could end the ball game. There's one. Mets win. Put this one in the books. Shea Stadium has something to smile about. The Mets gain a game on the Braves.
Look at that last out. It's a double play. You saw a shot of Mike Piazza, one of the heroes in the game tonight, if we could use that word. And it's a ground ball to Ordonez, and he fires the first base. And that's the double play into the game of Mike Piazza. A home run.
To be sure, a unique night in the history not only of Shea Stadium, but of sports in New York. And the Mets reward their fans and produce some smiles.